We are pleased to be joined by State Senator Paul Sarlo, Chairman of the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee. Good to see you, Paul.
Always good to be back with you, Steve.
Well, is it good to be talking about the economy in New Jersey as we're ending 2018, going into 19? Let me ask you something. Governor Murphy has a plan, Innovation State of New Jersey. Your colleague in the Senate, Senate President Steve Sweeney, talks about getting spending under control, state government. Are they the same thing? Is it all? I mean, when you talk about the economy, is that state spending? Is state spending the economy? Is all together?
Listen, I think it's a combination of things, quite frankly, right? You only could tax people so much, and you can't tax your way out of these problems. You need to grow the economy. You need to get creative and grow the economy. So I applaud the governor for looking at different ways to help grow the economy. Some of this innovative
clean energy.
Clean energy, some of the innovation, some of the incubator space,
yes,
high tech,
yes,
the stuff that's happening in other coastal states.
What does that have to do with tax policy?
Well, it doesn't have a lot to do with tax policy. It's about encouraging folks to come here and make investments and help grow the economy. But at the same time, you need to control spending on the health care and the pension side. And we need to find
public
a way.
workers?
Excuse me?
When you say we need to contain costs
we need to find
on
ways
health care and pensions, you're talking about for public workers.
That's correct. We need to find ways to become more cost effective and look at that in combination. So that's some of the things that the Senate President has been talking about. And we had a bipartisan committee, the Path to Progress, which evaluated shared services, evaluated some of the catalog.
Shared service between local governments?
Shared services between local government, county governments, among each other and across the board.
So, okay, so my hometown of Montclair, we have our own police department. I believe Glen Ridge, next town over, has their own police department. Hypothetically, listen, we don't know anything you don't know. Montclair and Glen Ridge have a discussion. Hey, let's share services around police. Is that what that means?
Listen, very difficult probably to do police, but there's a lot of other services, including garbage collection, including Board of Health, animal control officers, a lot of other things that go on in municipalities and able to share services. A lot of municipalities, quite frankly, are doing that. So that's one part of what we're talking about in the Path to Progress. The other part was looking at our healthcare plans. Does everybody need a Cadillac plan?
Would you break that down a little bit?
Does everybody under the...
Everybody in state government.
Everybody in state government. The Affordable Care Act, for instance, Obama administration had talked about a defined plan. Some of our healthcare plans are much higher than that. So we need to take a look at that. And then the third piece of that whole is what I like to talk about is our third-party administrators, Horizon. How do we administer our healthcare plans? In New Jersey, and for the viewers I think are going to fall down when they hear this, we pay $37,000 for a medical plan. $37,000
for each state
public employee. That's every teacher, every policeman, every folks who work in municipal, county, or state government. That's the cost of a healthcare plan. We need to find a way to how do we deliver a cheaper healthcare plan, which reduces the overall cost to the state of New Jersey.
But Senator, wasn't there an agreement reached with each person who decided to go into public service, be it a teacher, be it a firefighter, police officer, sanitation worker, whatever, that he or she said they would forego potentially a larger, a higher salary in the corporate or private sector to get benefits that would create more security in terms of health care, in terms of pension. Wasn't that the deal? Isn't that the deal?
That is the deal. And listen, there's been nobody who's a bigger supporter of public workers than I am. I'm a supporter of our police, our fire, our teachers, all those who serve us in so many different capacities. But there's ways to do this. We need to look at how do we administer these programs and how do we do it more economically and more efficiently. It's happening in the private sector. We look at how we administer these programs. So when you talk about the economy, the state of economy, it's a combination of growing the economy. It's a combination of how do we reduce overall state spending and local spending. So it's a combination of things. Governor Murphy's not wrong of how he's approaching it.
Right.
The Senate and the Assembly is not wrong of how we're approaching it.
Senator, we have an initiative that we've been involved in called Right from the Start NJ. The website will be up as we speak right now. What does it mean? For the last year or so, we've been involved in an effort to try to create more public awareness around infants and toddlers and their needs, affordable child care, the child care reimbursement, if you will. Right?
Right.
given the fiscal challenges you have in the state and all the different priorities, limited dollars, where does that fit?
Listen, we could sit here for hours and days talking about the various priorities of all of our constituents and our constituencies.
How about infants and toddlers?
Listen, of course that's a priority. It's got to be, I was going to say number one priority. It is a priority, and that's the difficult part. As the chairman of the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee, we go through this drill every year of looking at our revenues and looking at our spending and coming up with priorities, balancing the needs of our constituencies, trying to bring a very balanced but compassionate approach to it. And the program that you have just talked about, that's going to be up on your screens, should be a priority, of course.
But it's competing against, give us an example, against?
It's competing against higher education. It's competing against programs to stop domestic violence. It's competing against programs to deal with the opioid crisis. Yeah. I could go on and on and on. These are all programs that are important to all of us and to many of the folks that I represent. We do our best to balance.
Well, then, devil's advocate, someone says, then Governor Murphy proposed raising taxes on millionaires. The compromise that was reached in the last budget cycle, I believe, was over $5 million, if I'm not mistaken, Senator. There would be an increase in the income tax in the state on those earning more than $5 million. If we need to fund those programs, why wouldn't we simply do what the governor originally wanted, which is to increase taxes on people who earn $1 million and up?
Listen, there was folks in the legislature who felt uncomfortable with taxing folks at the $1 million level and above. They felt, and especially in northern part of New Jersey and other parts, these are folks who had enough disposable income that they would migrate. There would be an outward migration. Lose them to other states.
Explain to folks in Florida, the income tax is? Zero.
Zero. I was going there.
Pennsylvania?
3%.
New York?
5?
5, 6.
5 or 6?
Ours is?
You don't even want to know. It's much higher.
Is ours close to 10?
Close to 10, that's correct. And listen, we are a high-tax state, but it's still a great state to live. I would not want to raise my children in any other state, quite frankly.
Same here.
Okay?
Are we the exception?
No, we're not the
committed
exception.
to.
Absolutely no, we're not the exception.
But we're losing too many. We're losing too many wealthier New Jerseyans who say, I'm going to go to Florida 6 months, and what is it, 1 day?
1 day.
And then you don't have to pay any taxes in New
And
Jersey.
they mark the calendar off, right?
They
mark
do
the
that.
Calendar off. They do. I know folks who do it, right? So we have to be careful that we don't lose them. These are small business owners. These are folks that we need to make sure we retain. These are folks who have employed a lot of people over the years. They're now at a retirement age and deciding to leave. So it's a balancing act. I represent North Jersey. I represent Bergen County, probably one of the more wealthier regions in the state, perhaps in the entire country, quite frankly. Our proximity to Manhattan. So we are a high-cost state, but it's a great place to live. It's a great place to raise your children. We have the best K-12 educational system in the entire country, access to the best health care, better than any other state.
And you have the best public broadcasting. Thank you, Senator Sarlo.
Always great.
Appreciate it. All right, never enough money. Take care. We'll be right back right after this.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Agnes Veris NJTV studio at 2 Gateway. Funding has been provided by Choose New Jersey, the Turl Fund, supporting Right from the Start NJ, NJIT, New Jersey Sharing Network, Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters, New Jersey Resources, and by Adler Aphasia Center,